This is the Monroe Martin Podcast.
So I had my heart broken for the first time.
Oh shit! It's usually that drop. We're fucked up on this show, as you can tell so far. We see ghosts. My dog's a weirdo, yo. All she does is just climb on top of the couch and just start licking the top of my head, or anyone's head. She just likes black products. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Monroe Martin Podcast. We digital this time, motherfucker. I shouldn't be cursing up top. I know that it says try not to curse within the first 10 minutes of the video, but I don't know if I can help that.
Who says that? Who says that?
That's what the kids online say. The kids online, when it comes to like getting your stuff monetized, you know, those little geniuses, they be like, don't curse within the first 10 minutes because if you do, then they are less likely to show your video to the masses. And I'm like, that sounds about right, but I'd see so many fight videos and all that stuff. But people who are listening, if you're listening and you're not watching, the beautiful voice that you hear right now is my homie, my best friend, Chloe Hilliard. She's out there killing. Actually, let me get the credits right, because she's not just my fucking homie. She's a producer. She's a comedian. She's a writer. She's an actress. She's a journalist. Even though I said that twice, writer and journalist are two different things. She's a bad motherfucker. All right? I'm honored to have her here on this episode, and you should be too. Give it up for Chloe Hilliard, everybody. Hey.
Thank you.
All right, before we get into the conversation, Chloe, can you tell people where you're going to be?
Oh, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Chloe_Hilliard. You can go to chloehilliard.com to learn more about me. You can also check out fyourdiet.com if you want to learn more about my book. I'm also going to be releasing a clothing line called Fuck Your Diet soon. So sign up for my mailing list, my newsletter. I don't be posting no newsletter, but sign up for my mailing list so I can hit you directly because social media is about to take everything down. So, you know.
How you been, man? You've been out in LA for 2 years. And I know it's different because you're not an LA person, yo. You're a New Yorker.
I am a New Yeah. Oh, it's actually been 2.5 years, which sounds crazy. It's gone by so fast. I am a native New Yorker through and through. I think that helps me survive in LA because I just say what I feel and
so they don't do that out in LA? Would you say that's really?
No, everybody sugarcoats stuff. They have to because they don't want to be the person that like burns a bridge that could lead to like a multi-million dollars. Like no one ever is going to tell you a direct no. They'll just say like, oh, we really loved you, but we're out to someone else right now, or we would love to do something else. It's never like, no, you didn't get the job. It's always some like nice way of like letting you down because.
Did you hear that? As soon as I get started, hold on. So what were you saying?
No, I think I was just saying that like people aren't that direct and I am direct, but they think of it as like being really nice. I don't know. It's weird. Like I moving to LA has been a head trip for me because I get complimented on the things that I normally do here and no one cares. Like, but it's just a different energy out there. And so people are like, you're so nice and you're so like pleasant, which is weird because everybody thinks New Yorkers are mean, but I think the thing about New Yorkers are we see you, we acknowledge you, we know you there. We will have that experience and be like, how are you human being? Like, we know it's tough out here. Let's get this money. Versus being like, get out my fucking way. I'm stepping on your back. Like it's just a difference. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that I feel like I see and value people because I know how hard life is. And I think living in New York, you know how hard life is. And like, for example, I'm here in New York this week, doing spots, getting up, seeing friends and family. But this is the longest time I've been in New York since I moved away. And I feel like a tourist in my own city. Like, I feel like, oh, wow, I really miss New York. I'm walking around during the daytime, like doing all the stuff that I would never do when I lived here. I went into a souvenir shop, one of those like regular tacky ass souvenir shops. And, I'm talking to the people in there, the guys that work there. And you could just see them being like, oh, here's someone who's like, not treating me like a
Yeah.
piece of furniture who's engaging and talking to me and just being like, how's your day? How's everything? Because it's like, I'm in a good mood. Like, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a great place. And I also acknowledge that, like, my attitude is much different than when it was when I lived here. But I think
Yeah.
that you can attest to
Oh,
that.
absolutely. But I think we're always hypercritical of ourselves. I don't think you've ever had a bad attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're always in our head about things. But I always thought your attitude was fine. Like the directness is what me and I think a lot of our friend group appreciate, because that's something you just don't get in life. Like, people will rather dance around the issue versus just being like, here's the problem, here's the issue, how can we fix it? If we can't fix it, then we just move on. If it can be fixed, cool. And I think that's why our group is so tight, because we can kind of talk to each other about what's bothering us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that friendship group is so important. You know, my brother was asking me, he was like, do other people have crews? And I'm like, in comedy, everybody has a crew. You fall in line with the people who are very similar to you in like life philosophy, experience, growing up, whatever. And so I think I fell in with you guys because we all had very similar qualities, even though we express it in very different ways. But I think at the core of who we are, we are honest people. Like, I think all of us are very honest people, and we don't bullshit each other. And if something ain't working, something ain't working. Like, you saw me bomb the other night, and I knew I was going to bomb, and you was like, yeah, she knows she bombing. She know it.
it's like, but also, you know how I view bombing. To me, bombing is fine when you're working on something. When you're and the audience can tell. There's a difference of bombing when you're like, that joke didn't hit the way I wanted to hit, but I still kept the energy up. I still kept it friendly. And then there's this bombing where people are just depleting the room and fucking draining the energy and stuff like that. And I've done both, but I'm happy with bombing when I go, all right, we all know that this wasn't work. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but we all still had fun. And I feel the audience still enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Even though certain things may have not worked the way you wanted them to work, they were still engaged. Like, all right, we with you. Because here's one thing that Derek Gaines, for the people who aren't familiar with Derek Gaines, but y'all should know. Y'all know no need for apologies. You know who everybody is. Derek had to reiterate something to me, and it just was like one of those moments where it's just like pulling the veil back. It's the audience does not know. They don't know if the joke you just didn't work. All they know is, did they laugh or not? Were they engaged? Did they walk away knowing something about you? So you know.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny? The thing that always, and I hate to say always, but to this point, since I've been doing this joke, the thing that always gets in the pause break is when I talk about why I'm in therapy. And they're like, oh, yeah, that it's not a joke, it's the truth. But they laugh and they applaud because they're just like, oh, wow, yeah, she just really told us some like deep ass shit. And it makes us understand her a little bit more. And I think that's the thing that I have missed about like not being able to perform as much in LA, is like being able to have that outlet to just like get things out of my head, to say things how I feel, and to, you know, share my insight on things, whether it's like ridiculous or, you know, a little bit of like enlightenment. But I'm really happy that I'm in New York for this week and I get to like perform and get on stage every night, because I don't get a chance to do that in LA. But
I think you should bring back Social Misfits, even though nothing is a substitute for stand-up. Nothing at all. But this is probably the closest I feel like I get to like of working things out. You know what I mean? When I have an idea, especially when it's somebody I like talking to, and we can just shoot the shit and work things out. I feel like this is the closest to it. And you got to bring back that podcast. If you're listening to this, people, tell her, be like, yo, first of all, go listen to Chloe Across America on YouTube, or go look at Social Misfits or Rant and River, all the fucking podcasts that she's had in the past. Go look at all of those. And then go, hey, you should just come back to podcasting. Even it's just once a week. It's just once a week. for an hour.
I know. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you two
It'll
things.
help your
One,
sanity.
no, listen, two things. One, started doing social misfit by myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of scheduling and all that stuff. But one, it's like it's the workload. Like I don't
Yeah.
mind doing that stuff, but I can't do it myself anymore. I used to take great pride in being a one man band, and I used to be like I can do everything. I do the podcast, I book the guests, I do the graphics, I do the editing, I post the clips. I can't do that anymore. I just don't have
Mm-hmm.
it in me. So that's one. I need like manpower. So if anybody want to
Okay.
sign me and give me a deal and then just produce my podcast and I show up and look pretty and talk shit, then fine. But then
Yeah.
also it's the talking shit thing. Like I realized this trip has truly solidified for me that like I'm not just a stand up anymore. Being in LA for
Yeah.
2.5 years, I work on a show. I'm the co-head writer, co-executive producer on a Black Lady sketch show. I'm affiliated with HBO, and I can't
Mm-hmm.
just be out here saying the shit that I used to say when it was just me being a one-man band comedian. And
Yeah.
so I'm also mindful of that because I don't want to be in a position where I'm talking about a celebrity. I'm talking about a controversial situation. Like say if I was, wax a poet about Will and Jada, and the next thing
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm in a general meeting with their production company and they're like, we want to know if you want to work with us. And I got to be like, well, I said some shit on the podcast,
Yeah.
so you have to think about those things. And I don't ever want to, shoot myself in the foot because truly I'm not a malicious person. I do think a lot of times when you podcast, especially when you podcast a lot, you
Mm-hmm.
end up talking about the same things over and over again. And you end up like picking on the same easy targets over and over again. And as a comic,
Mm-hmm.
that's a wealth of, opportunity for us to like talk about some crazy dark ass shit. And so,
Yeah.
the stuff that we talk amongst ourselves is like, I can't be
I know.
saying 80% of that shit out
Well,
loud
leave me
online.
to it. Let me do it then. I don't
Do
care.
it. Do it. And I think it's like I realized like I did Angela Yee's show Way Up this week, and she
Mm-hmm.
asked me, she was like, do you how do you think people like with your success and blah blah blah. And I was like, I never assume people know who I am. I never
Mm-hmm.
assume people know who I am. I'm actually very like when people stop me in the street, it's not like everyday occurrence, but like when it does happen, I'm truly grateful and I'm appreciative. And I tell them like, thank you so much for like stopping me. I appreciate, your kind words because I don't take it for granted. And I also realize that for me, as someone who grew up with no friends, to
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden have people being like, you're amazing, you're great,
Yeah.
you're this, you're that. It's just like, and the thing about it is that I never changed who I was. So now the person that everybody hated because I was weird and different as a kid is the same
Mm-hmm.
person people being like, you're so refreshing, you're so irreverent, you're so smart. And it's just, it is a little bit of a mind fuck. But then I'm also
Yeah.
like, well, I'm glad I stayed true to myself because
Mm-hmm.
y'all finally catching on.
Yeah. But I think you're over exaggerating. You saying you didn't have no friends. Granted, I wasn't around, but first
No,
of all, you went to an all Jewish school. They couldn't be your
I
friends.
did not. I
They
didn't go to
couldn't
Jewish
be your
school.
friends.
I did not go to a Jewish school. I went to a bougie black elementary school, which is now like one of the top elementary schools in Brooklyn called PS11. And when I was
Mm-hmm.
there, it was, I hate to say it, there was general population and then there was like
Yeah.
the gifted classes. And I was
And you was
always
a
in the gifted
gifted.
classes.
Yeah.
Gifted classes. So from kindergarten to fifth grade, I was in the gifted classes in school, which they don't do anywhere. They don't separate us.
Mm-hmm.
But I was the youngest kid, the biggest kid in a smart class. I was not socially inept to handle the ins and outs of like the social structure in a school because I grew up in a Hasidic Jewish neighborhood. I was
Mm-hmm.
the only child. My parents sheltered me. I grew up during the crack era, so there was a lot of sheltering. I was either in church or at home. I
Yeah.
didn't have any big cousins that lived near me, and the other cousins that I had was on a bad side of town, so I wasn't gonna let me go. These my other cousins like knew the streets. They was like,
Yeah.
with it. They went out there. Their apartment door was open. They was just coming in and out the house. Like I didn't do any of that, so I had
Yeah.
no point of reference. And so then when I got to elementary school, not having siblings, not having like big cousins to play with, and I was the first grandchild on my mom's side, so I was the
Mm-hmm.
only kid. I didn't know a lot of like the social things that other kids knew. And then I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood. My points of references, my cultural references are not the same. I'm doing what my
Mm.
parents did. My
Yeah.
dad listened to George Clinton and Jimi Hendrix and Parliament Funkadelic, and my mom and fucking Frank Zappa, and my mom listened to Al Jarreau and Bobby McFerrin. So I didn't know shit I didn't know anything. And so, when I got to school, I was truly a social misfit. And that's also part of the reason why I call my podcast that. But like, I was truly a social misfit. I did not fit in, and they knew I didn't fit in. And I was also the biggest kid and the youngest kid again. And so there was a lot of things. And so I was bullied tremendously by the same group of kids from junior high school to fifth grade. And I remember one of my best friends, she came to that school in the fourth grade. And when she got to that school, everybody was like, "Don't be friends with Chloe. She's weird. She's this. She's that. She's this. She's that."
One of your best friends, you saying?
No. She became my best friend. She became my best friend.
Okay.
But she became my best friend because she got to the school late, so she wasn't indoctrinated in like knowing that we don't fuck Chloe like that. And so
wait. So hold on. Sorry. So she told people don't fuck with you.
No. Okay. She joined the school in fourth grade, so she knew she was a new girl. Yeah. But when she came there and she was a new girl, they was like, "This is how things run here. We don't like Chloe, so you shouldn't like her either." They told her.
They said that?
Yeah. And like Chloe's weird. Like, okay, so when I was in elementary school, this story encapsulates what I mean by bully, right? Mm-hmm. These are like my frenemies. They would pick and choose when they want to be nice to me. So you know how every little girl in elementary school, they play family. So it's like, I'm the mom, this is my daughter. We all the same age, same grade, but it's like, I'm the mom, this is my daughter, this is the niece. So everybody playing family. Well, they were playing family that week, and I had to pay 50 cents to be in a family, and I was the maid. So that's what I mean by like,
that's hilarious bullying. I know. Did you say that on stage?
No, I haven't said that on stage yet.
Oh my God, that is funny. You had to pay 50 cents to be in a family.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my upbringing, but you like in real life, and then they were just playing around with you.
Yeah, and so so because you want to be socially accepted, you do things. So this, these are my same tormentors. So like I understand how to bargain with them. But so when she got into the school at fourth grade, they pretty much was like filling her in on like, this is Chloe, blah blah blah. And so she was like, "Nah, I don't care. Like I'm my own person, and I appreciate. I mean, we're still best friends to this day. Like she was like, I'm my own person. I'll make my own decisions." And so she was like the first sleepover I got invited to, like because once she started doing it, then other kids was like, "Okay, I guess," but they didn't really want me there. It was just like, I mean, I guess. And then after I left elementary school a year before they did, because I got blamed for a riot. I got blamed for a race riot in the fifth grade.
Yo, we got similar upbringings, but go ahead.
Yeah. So
did it get physical?
Well, no. What happened was we had this racist teacher named Miss Sherman, who's probably long dead. Okay. And she was an old white lady who was just used to like ruling with an iron fist. But the thing is that we were a gifted class. So like there, you don't have to like be so authoritarian with us. And these two boys, again, when I say I was with the same group of kids from kindergarten to fifth grade, it was the same group of kids, maybe like a couple new people here and there, but like the majority of the kids were the exact same kids. So we've been knowing each other. We long standing beef, squashing it, all that stuff. So these two boys, they got into an argument in class and they got physical. And this is like a rare occasion. Like we never like physically fought, but like
smart kids don't fight.
We don't fight. Yeah. So they fought, right? And so they fought in class. Like it erupted in class. And I think it was because they both liked the same girl, like low key was something else. But then when they fought, they like on the floor rolling around fighting. And she picks up a yardstick and she starts beating them with the yardstick. And when I tell you a record scratched, everybody was like, "Hold on, wait a minute. Now you hitting us?" Like then the whole class turned on her and was like, "You can't be beating us. Like what the fuck do you think this is?" And, it was a lot of yelling and screaming and like, this is like Nelson Mandela. Did you hear that chime? Because I want to make sure. Let me make sure.
No, I didn't hear no chime.
Okay, let me just put this on real quick. Hold on. So, she was beating us, she was beating the two boys and then we turned. And this is like, we went through a lot in elementary school. Like Nelson Mandela came out. We saw him riding through Fulton Street. We know about, segregation, apartheid. Like we know about our rights. We singing Kwanzaa songs. Like we are pro-Black. This is like native tongues. Like
with the wrong group.
Quest. Like this is the wrong group. We know our rights. Okay.
We proofread them. We wrote reports on that shit.
Yeah, we turned on her and she lost control of the class and she called down to the
Hmm.
principal's office and everything was like, they in here, we riot in, they locked the door, we in there singing like we shall overcome. Like I'm telling you, like not even
Yo.
exaggerating. And so all of that went down and they somehow tried to pinpoint it on me and say Chloe was the one who agitated the whole thing and I was not. And so they tried to use that as a reason to kick me out of the class, to put me in
Mm.
Gen Pop. And my mother was like, I'll take my kid out of the school before I let you put her in Gen Pop because
Yeah.
she ain't do the shit. And also what's so funny to me is like, clearly y'all, but the thing was because I was a big body person, I always got blamed for everything.
Hmm.
And I was the most non-violent person. I was always literally forced to defend myself. And I knew that
Hmm.
if I ever hit back or yell back, I would always get in trouble. And my mother knew
Hmm.
that. So when they said that I caused a riot, my mother was like, first of all, you mean the kids that hate her? You think the kids that hate her listen to her to
Hmm.
do a riot? There's no fucking way. And so she took me out and took me to another school, another gifted. This was a completely gifted and talented school.
You
I
went to
tested into it.
2 different schools. Damn, you that gifted?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I am. So,
Usually,
uh,
you can get into one gifted school, and then that's it. If you don't make
mm-mm.
that, then you back to Gen Pop. But they're that gifted
Nah.
where you got
Yeah,
drafted to another school.
I went to PS11, and then after
Hmm.
PS11, I tested into Philippa Schuyler,
Okay.
which is a school for the gifted and talented, and I was there
Hmm.
until I graduated, and then went to high school. When I went to high school, I went to Mary Bertram, which is probably now like pulled apart because they do all this charter school crap now.
Hmm.
But I did Mary Bertram for business careers, and I studied computer science, and I was like, I'm gonna be a computer science like engineer. Like I had studied computer science in junior high school, so I was
Hmm.
coding. I was
Hmm.
coding in like the seventh grade.
Yeah.
Um,
When
and
I met
then
you, you were building websites for people on the side.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
should have listed that as a part of your credits. Entrepreneur, a true entrepreneur. You know how to hustle.
Yes, I do know how to hustle. So, with that experience being bullied as a child, it's just like, yeah, I just know how to like move and not really care about what people think or say about me. And it's hard. I mean, I have moments where I'm just like,
Hmm.
what's the disconnect?
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I want to be able to connect and have people understand where I'm coming from or what I'm saying on stage, and that's why I like to give a lot of context about myself. I love to say, I love to say my age, which most people don't do. I love saying I'm 42. I talk about where I'm from because I need you to understand why I'm saying and
Hmm.
believing and thinking the things that I say on stage or in my
Yeah.
material or whatever it is. It's like I'm not up here posing. Like this is true life experience that
Yeah.
you're witnessing.
Good. First, you said two things. First of all, like I'm glad you're mentioning your age thing because I definitely would like women to like get rid of that stigma that the older you get, the less valuable you are. That doesn't make sense. Like I feel like there are more women that are 40 plus that look better than most of these chicks that are young. Because when you're older, you spend
Mm-hmm.
time with you know what I mean? Like you take care of yourself. Like I was talking to my homie about that. You start to treat your body like a fucking classic car. Like you're just not gonna leave
Yeah.
it in the garage. Like you're gonna turn it on every once in a while. You're gonna rub it down. You're gonna really just take care of yourself. And I feel like we need to normalize that. Like normalize women being proud of their age and saying it so we don't go, you're only 42. It's like, yeah, this is what 42
Yeah.
looks like when you drink water. This is what
Yeah. Yeah.
42 looks like when you
As I
love yourself.
as I drink my
Fucking
water.
water, yo, I can't wait. I be.
I embrace I love my age. It is a part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very glad that all that I've experienced in life, all that I've, given from myself to the world. And I
Mm-hmm.
also feel like, you know, at 42, I honestly look the best I've ever looked in my life. So I'm definitely going to embrace this part of me and I'm not going to like dumb it down or make you feel better about
Mm-hmm.
yourself because it's true. You guys take care of yourself. I tell y'all
You
all the
have to.
time,
Yeah.
there's no way I'm working this hard to achieve my goals and I can't
Mm-hmm.
live
Mm-hmm.
to experience and enjoy them. No, that can't happen.
And also, it's bad health is just as bad as bad debt, like credit card debt, right? Because
Yeah.
if you use your 20s and you use to fuck your body up, and then you don't take care of yourself, and then you get money, you're just spending that money on that bad health. And then you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely understand. You know, I get it. I mean, especially in our community, like comics eat like shit and eat late at night and mad sugar and mad alcohol, and you know, it really takes a toll. And I'm not trying to be that person. I don't want to be grumpy on stage, barely able to step up and tell my jokes. Like I want to be fit and in control of my shit.
Yeah, man, when that's like
wait, you
when
want
I
to
like
pause for the ice? Wait, you want to pause for the music?
Fuck, I forgot what we was talking about.
I
didn't forget what we was talking about. No, I didn't smoke today. I wish, but I did not smoke today. You know what it was? Yeah, only because I feel like I was doing it as like more of a coping mechanism for doing things that I like, you know, you don't want to be out, but you have to be out. It was all those things. And you dealing with all your personalities. And now that all my friends are grown, I'm out with people who we're cool, but then when those people not around and then other people just come around and you just got to deal with other people's insecurities, energy, it's like, yo, I don't have the energy to be fighting other people, like to be fighting other people's energy off. So sometimes I would just smoke just so I can let that shit just flow by me, but I'm trying to just cut back on that because I'm like, I don't know, it's making my brain foggy and all of that stuff. And then the weed out here make you paranoid.
It's trash.
That's what weed is. New York weed is garbage.
It's trash. No, it's trash. You can't do New York weed. Especially that's one thing that blew my mind. Like coming back here, and yes, in LA dispensaries have been the thing for a while now, but coming back here and seeing those little dispensaries, pop-up shops, I know that weed is oregano at best. So
because where the fuck are they growing it at? Come on now, y'all got sunlight, y'all got the elements for good weed. Everyone here is like, oh yeah, I grew this in my apartment. I don't want your struggle weed. I don't want
and also upstate. They're growing them upstate, like the farms are upstate New York, but like the crop, you know, people these are like first crops, like, you know, it's like first, second crops, and you can't really like that. I mean, it's a science to growing weed, and so that first batch is like the joke I used to tell about being, you know, the first born child, first pancake. That first pancake look wonky as fuck. So you gotta work it out.
Yeah, so I'm reducing it, and then I'm focusing on my health. I've been working out, lifting, and all of that stuff, and then I let weed be the reward. I let the activities around, because now that I'm eating clean or trying to eat clean and stuff, I'm like, all right, I want to have not a cheat day, but I want to have a day where I'm not as focused on my health and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, I'll smoke and then eat. Me and my wife, we can chill, watch movies. I want to make it more of like a celebratory thing versus this thing that I do to just get by. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I definitely get it.
That's how I used to do at your crib. Remember? You and Derek introduced
First of all, I need you to stop saying my crib, because we were
It was your crib.
How long?
It was your crib.
4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
So you lived there. You got bills there. Like you pay rent. It was
crib.
Yes.
Is that better?
Yes, because it makes it seem like you live with me on some like shacking up shit, not like you pay bills.
So that's something that I still do that now, right? Even though me, Michelle, our name is on everything, I still go yours, yours, yours. I don't. It's just like that childhood trauma shit. I never really look at anything as I'm a part of it. It's mine too. I go, I'm here for the ride. I'll do what you need me to do, but I never look at something as mine. I don't know. I just,
it's yours. Yeah. I know, but listen, let me tell you something. I've done several podcasts since I've been here this week. I've had conversations with several comedians, and let me tell you something. The word of the week for me is therapy. So, and everybody pushes back on it. But you know you need therapy. I know you, and I know you need therapy. And I'm not saying it as a dig. And I want people to say, and I'm going to keep talking about it. I don't want people to think that therapy is like, oh, I'm fucked up and something wrong with me. It's like, we're all fucked up. Everybody's fucked up in their own way. Whatever your life experience brought to you, whatever bad cards was dealt, whatever bad fucked up people was in your life, whatever emotional trauma you weren't able to like sort through, like we all deal with that. Not to mention, if you are a person of color in America, you need to go to therapy because this system is beating us down every fucking day. And so for you, you're not to say you, but this the you person who's just like, no, I don't need it. You know who? I don't need it. Blah 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 blah. It's like you definitely need it. And then they say, well, everybody says when I say I don't need it, they say I definitely need it. So it's like, you know what it is? I remember knowing that I was going to go to therapy. Like I always knew at some point, and I gave myself two options. One was I want to go to therapy before I get into a serious relationship or like marriage. Like before I get married, I want to go to therapy. And also it's like before I like blow up, before I like increase my public visibility to the next level, I want to make sure that I'm in the right headspace to deal with whatever comes with that, because people criticize you on social media, especially someone like me who comes from, having bullying in my childhood. Like people criticize you for the way you look, your hair, your makeup, your clothes, your height, your boobs, your shoes. Like people get on you, your accent, how you say this, and like everything they can criticize you for. And if you are a person who is sensitive to these things, it could really eat away at you. Even if you are a strong person, it could eat away at you. Like I remember when I did the Tonight Show, and I gave myself 24 hours to look at comments. That was it. I was like, after 24 hours, I'm not looking at comments no more. And some of the comments was like, oh, she's funny. She's not funny. Cool. But then it started like doing like personal attacks. Like, oh, she's wearing the wrong undergarments. It's like, nigga, if you looking at my undergarments, like, then you looking
how many
at the
times you
wrong
watched
thing.
it? Yeah. This ain't, nigga, this ain't on you porn. This on YouTube.
Yeah. So, but it's like people just think they're critical. And I think that's the problem with like social media. It gives people this anonymity to think that they can say anything that they want to say, not realizing that we're still human beings. And so I wanted to prepare myself for anything that came up. And because this was around the time that I released my book, Fuck Your Diet, available everywhere. And so that's why I started going to therapy. Yeah, put the links up. So that's why I started going to therapy. And then once I was in therapy, I went in there thinking like I'm doing this for this reason. And then over time, and I told many people this week, it's like, it's not like a one-time thing. It's not like the first time you go, everything is sorted out. It's like you start to get comfortable with like digging deeper, and the person asks you pointed questions, and you start to be able to correlate things because we're in our lives, we're living our lives, we're in the moment. And so every once in a while it's good to have somebody who can help you take 10 steps back and look at the bigger picture and see how things connect and influence where you are in the moment. And so knowing that, and like I'm very grateful for giving myself the opportunity to look at my life like that, because I think it's changed how I interact with the world, how I show up for myself, how I show up for other people, meaning being super present, and giving myself completely without being like worried about my own shit, like setting my shit aside to show up and be where I need to be. And so it's helped me tremendously. I mean, you know me personally, so it's definitely helped me tremendously. And I want that for my friends. And it kind of bums me out when people are like, I don't need it. And it's like, I know you, nigga, you fucking need therapy. Like,
I did the therapy thing. I did the therapy thing when we were roommates. And it wasn't that I didn't like it. I liked it. And it was a little Jewish dude. He was super cool. Remember
I know
him?
who you're talking about. Yes, but here's the thing. I told you that was not the right person to go to. I told you that because that person was going to use only comics like that. Like you got to be mindful. Anyway, all right. I didn't mean to cut you off, but yes.
But no, here was the thing, right? Like, sometimes he made me come to a reality that I was like, not made me come to a reality, but it would. So the end result of that therapy was me like ending a relationship with somebody. And sometimes in my mind I go, well, if I go to therapy again, who would I lose this time? You get what I'm saying?
But let me tell you something. Sometimes you need to lose people because you realize that the way that your relationship is set up with them, it could be traumatic, it could be toxic, it could be not good for you, it could be one-sided. And I think the thing is that that is your childhood talking, right? Because you're
Mm-hmm.
just you don't like losing people. You don't like
Mm-hmm.
not having strong relationships, and you are willing to make something work with somebody to keep them in your life because you had so much loss and vacancy in your upbringing. And so that is a real thing. And so understanding what the root of your actions are help you not to repeat bad actions. And so, yes, you will lose people in your life who you feel like you've been able to manage and keep this relationship on life support. But it's better to let that thing go and give your energy 100% to something else that really truly fulfills you. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not like you lost, and it's not like you're a loser, and it's not like you're a bad person. It's just that you know how to treat yourself better now, and you need to have people in your life that also treat you better. And the people that don't, that you still want to keep in your life, you just, reassign them to a different part of your life that doesn't have as much access and availability to you, and to fuck up your flow.
Amen. Are you a therapist? Should I add that to the list? Should I
Definitely
add
don't
that
add
to
me.
the list of things? The Jill of
No.
all trades? All right, Chloe, so we're coming to the end of the first half of the show. Would you mind sticking around for the Patreon where you talk more
Absolutely.
shit? All
Yes.
right.